welcome to another edition of the Pace Report. I'm Brian Pace, reporting live here at Dizzy's Club Coca-Cola, live here at Jazz at Lincoln Center here in New York City. Vocalist, composer, as well as pianist, Abelita Mateus tonight is performing music from her brand new CD, Mixed Feelings. Now, Abelita hails from Brazil, and she moved here to the United States, New York City, in 2012. In the time that she's been here, she's got her degree in jazz studies, as well as played with the likes of Antonio Art, as well as Claudio Roditi and Dave Stryker, just to name the endless few. Tonight, she's playing music from her brand new record, Mixed Feelings, and this is a myriad of a lot of compositions that she wrote in her native Brazil, as well as her time here in the United States. I had a chance to sit down and break bread with her to talk about her origins growing up in Brazil, how she was exposed to jazz, and also how she's expanded her role as an instructor and teacher here in the United States. So sit back, relax, and enjoy highlights of Miss Abelita Mateus performing music from her brand new record, Mixed Feelings, live here at Jazz at Lincoln Center's Dizzy's Club Coca-Cola, as part of the Pace Report here in New York City. I have listened to this CD maybe 3 times. And I'm watching you perform, and I'm like, wow, this is just, I'm putting one and two together. Congratulations on Mixed Feelings. Congratulations on painting the palette of how you have become acclimated to New York and America by way of your music and also the people that you've been studying with.
Thank you so much for this opportunity. And yes, it's a pleasure to live in this country, to have had this opportunity of learning with great musicians here. And it is a challenge, to combine all these feelings and all the difficulties to make it work here in New York, right? But a day like today make me feel like yes, things are happening, and I love what I do. I have lots of passion for it. That's why I moved here, and it's very nice to have the opportunity to meet great musicians, to study with great people, and I feel like I'm ready to go for it more and more. And this CD Mixed Feelings is a result of um, some of this work, right? Some of these compositions I composed when I still lived in Brazil, and the other ones after I moved here. And there's influence absolutely of like Brazilian music, but also lots of jazz influence. And I'm very happy for everything. I'm very, very happy.
Now, you are from Sao Paulo,
Yes, São
Brazil,
Paulo, Brazil.
Brazil, and you came here in 2012. What has been the biggest cultural adjustment that you've had to take on as just one, as a Brazilian living in America, as well as also the part of studying and playing the music of jazz?
Right. I believe the biggest cultural adjustment was related to relationships of family. I'm very family connected. I still used to live with my family before I moved here, like in the same house. So that was very hard for me to see myself so far away from them, and still a challenge. But in other ways, made me grow more and get more experience and deal with myself, with my loneliness, and be able to put that in my music, right? That's why this album's right here. In terms of studying jazz, it's such a huge challenge for me because even though Brazilian music and jazz are so connected in so many ways, we feel it different, right? I have been like practicing listening the jazz feel as much as I can, and that is great for me, to have this opportunity of like listening and seeing people doing and playing and right in front of me. For example, at William Patterson, I had this great opportunity to study with Mulgrew Miller, and that absolutely changed my mind, to be like right there, looking at him and listening to what he was playing, and that was very nice. And I think I've learned so much about respect for music here, and respect for the heritage, for the history, and I feel that I wanna do that not only for jazz but for Brazilian music too. For my music, I think I believe I have more respect for my own music now. Just because of all this. All the way this is felt here in the United States, related to jazz. It's very special, and I like that very much. Você deixa ir embora, a tarde cai, em cores se desfaz, escureceu, o sol caiu no mar, e aquela luz lá embaixo se acendeu vazio. Eu somos dois, sozinhos neste bar meio luz.
Parece que esse passo vai fechar e é sempre uma canção para contar aquela história de um desejo que todas as canções têm pra contar. E veio aquele beijo.
On this recording, you're only singing 2 songs on this album, and I'm listening to you live, and I said, I wish we had some more vocals from you. And another thing I really love about this record, too, is you do pay homage and you do beautiful renditions of 2 of Brazil's most famous composers.
Absolutely. I just love Tom Jobim. I absolutely love his music, his compositions. It's so beautiful. Everything is so strong, and you know, I if I could, I would just like play an entire concert of Jobim. Actually, I have this passion for all these compositions. Right, Djavan is a composer that my first album was kind of a tribute to him because I have like 4 or 5 of his compositions, and there's just so much beautiful music, right? So I chose these 2 because I love their music very much. But there's so many others, So I would love to record one album, and dedicated to each one of them. I really love Brazilian music, and yes, I absolutely want to sing more. It's just, to be honest with you, to sing is a new thing for me. I always loved it, but I didn't do it in Brazil very much. I didn't have so many opportunities there. I started there in a way. I was trying to, but I've never had like opportunities there. So since I moved here, the first thing people ask me as I speak Portuguese, do you sing? right? And I was like, wow, I guess I do. I do sing. I just don't do it often, right? And then I really started putting it out there, like trying to make an effort to, learn better, like learn more the technique. I'm doing it right now, and yes, I want to do as much as I can.
You know, Antonio's Carlos Jobim to Brazil is what Cole Porter or Duke Ellington is here in the United States. What is it about Jobim and his lyrics? Because his lyrics are witty. He's also romantic, also, and his music, his melodies, chord structures, just ridiculous.
I know. Jobim, I think living in Rio, the period where he lived there, the period when he lived there, and having that, that beautiful view every single day. And obviously, who am I to say, but I know he had like great music surrounding him too. I think the combination of it. I know that they had like groups of friends that would like enjoy music together too, and I think the combination of all of this and absolutely the fact that he's a genius, right? Uh, he came up with these beautiful melodies, and you feel like if you were there in Rio de Janeiro, enjoying the beach, the beautiful women, um, this feeling of, right, the girl from Ipanema and all the other songs. Um, it feels good, right? And I know my country is very big, and that is just one view of my country, right? We have like so many other things going on and so many other types of music. And United States knows better Jobim, not only because he's amazing and great, but because he came here and he had all this opportunity of sharing his music here. There's many other great composers there that he admires. Actually, Jobim used to admire very many other composers that didn't have this opportunity that he had. But he's a genius, and he deserves, you know, all the fame that he got from his music. He's absolutely great.
We have to blame his genius and his exposure by way of Stan Getz. Stan Getz and
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, when they got together, yes, yes, absolutely. That is a great album. I love it so much.
Brazilian music is so unique. You have MPB, you have bossa nova, you have samba. How are all those different musical styles, because Brazil is a big country, how are those music styles closely related to jazz as far as tempo and rhythm?
Whoa, that's a big question. We would need, I guess, an entire interview for it. I think in a way, the rhythms kind of influenced each other in a way. Um, well, one thing I can say about it is that César Camargo Mariano, a Brazilian piano player that uh, moved here like more than 30 years ago, reading his biography, I could see, and that is actually the theme for my thesis, that listening to Errol Garner, for example, right, and what he would do with his left hand, that influenced so much what Cesar does, with his comping, but kind of an upbeat thing, got, right. So just one example of like how the rhythms kind of, there's an interaction of everything, but at the same time, I guess it all comes from what part of Africa, right? We got like the slaves, and that actually made a difference, because if we really analyze it, it happened at the same time, right? We had like chorinho happening in Brazil while we had ragtime happening here, and all this developed, but because we had different Africans like in both countries, right? And it's just fascinating to see, right, how those rhythms like elaborated and we got where we got, and
It expanded when it got to America.
absolutely, absolutely it expanded, yeah. Well, now we have all this interaction of everything, but I guess now we can use all this, right? So let's say we can use all the rhythms that we have there and all the harmony of jazz and the improvisation that you guys developed here, because we developed it there, but in a different way. If you listen to chorinho and how chorinho is improvised, it's very specific, So I think that's what is happening right now. But there's lots of great music in Brazil that it's not explored, the way it could be, I guess. I think we were not so good at like showing the music as you guys are here, right? United States just like brings the music, the culture everywhere, such in a strong way, such a strong way, right? And we don't. But I think little by little, things are getting more out there. So it's good. It's good for everybody.
I want to go back into Jobim for a half a second, and also how it ties into Brazilian music.
Right.
The guitar and percussion is very much part of the heavy rudiments of a lot of Brazilian music. And we see that in your performance here tonight. What is it about those two elements that add to the whole entire element of the Brazilian bossa nova movement that happened in the 60s?
Well, the guitar is a very strong and important instrument, and the way this comp, right, the way of we comp in bossa nova, it was first developed in the guitar, right? So all the other instruments, piano, drums, even bass, we were following that and kind of copying in a way, right? And then obviously we would get from, as I mentioned, right, like jazz pianists, what they would do, we do adapt, right? But the guitar was absolutely the first one, right? João Gilberto is one of the most important names in this, and it's just very important not only because of the rhythm, but also the chords, the way he would open the chords, right? And I agree with you. It's just very important. And I really love playing with guitar. I love the sound.
You have a legendary guitarist who's on your recording, and actually, he co-produced your first record too. He's on playing you tonight.
He is playing with me tonight. It's such a great privilege. I'm very very grateful to have him and to have him like co-producing my first album. Homero, he's very special not only because of his music but his personality. Right, he makes everybody feels great. And his music does that too. So it's amazing. I'm very very grateful.
Salina das Margaridas.
Who are some of your musical influences on the piano, and who are some of your musical influences on vocal?
Oh, right. On the piano, few names. Bill Evans for sure. Mulgrew Miller, especially after I moved here. From Brazil, Egberto Gismonti is a great influence. There's many others, but vocal, absolutely. I think the most one I would say Elis Regina. She's like the biggest name in
Yeah.
Brazil for sure, and
She was your Barbara Streisand. She was the Brazilian Barbara Streisand.
absolutely, she's just amazing, And Ella Fitzgerald, of course, I just love her so much. I don't know. Sarah is also amazing. Sarah Vaughan. Um, Rosa Passos, a Brazilian singer. I don't know if you ever heard about her, but she's amazing. She plays the guitar and sings, and I love. She is called like the João Gilberto, female João Gilberto, right? There's so many, but yeah, just a Diane Reeves, the Homero, like the Homero plays with her for so many years. She's just amazing. Yeah, I think these are some of them.
I understand that as a musician here, you're now teaching. And I need to ask you how you've been able to hand down to the next generation of musicians what you've learned and what are you learning from teaching?
Wow, that's a big question too. Well, teaching makes you see they struggle, right, every day, and that reminds me of my own struggle, right, and how much sometimes it's difficult to go to the next level, no matter where you are, right? But watching my students, I'm like, yeah, that's hard. So keep working, right? I guess for my students and for the next generations, don't give up. I think that's it. And when I say that, it's not only generally, it's like it's a daily thing. Sometimes there's some days that I really don't feel like playing or practicing at all, and it's hard to start. But most of the time, if I do it, it feels just awesome. It feels great. And like, I guess if you nurture that feeling, you feel better about what you do. About all the challenge, and I try to be my own teacher on that. Because it's so difficult. Sometimes I have so much stuff to do, students to teach, and things to take care of, and I have to keep reminding myself, take your time, just sit there and do that. It will feel good. you know.
Abelita Mateus, what does jazz music mean to you?
Jazz music means life, means happiness, means to live fully, like believing that every day you can do something great, even though that day maybe is falling apart. If you have the strength to go sit down and play a nice chord, everything is worth it. So that's what jazz is for me.
That'll do it again for another edition of the Pace Report, reporting live here at Dizzy's Club Coca-Cola, here at Jazz at Lincoln Center here in New York City. Make sure you go out and support Abelita Mateus' brand new CD, Mixed Feelings, which is now available on Amazon.com as well as iTunes and CD Baby. I'd like to personally thank the staff and management here at Dizzy's as well as Jazz at Lincoln Center for their warm hospitality. As always, please visit my website, www.thepacereport.com, for my weekly column as well as my past segments. Until next time, remember, if it's in the groove, it'll make you move. Till next time, peace.